Episode 88 of the Nashville Artist podcast is now out, featuring the captivating Flamgu, a versatile visionary artist and painter who revels in frolicking. Flamgu's art draws power from the dualities of reality, blending light and dark, feminine and masculine, in a mesmerizing dance. At the heart of Flamgu's process lies the anatomical harp, serving as an anchor point as her paintings flow and evolve, with ventricles transforming into sweeping landscapes. This organic approach imbues her work with a sense of movement and vitality. Flamgu's artistic journey is enriched by live painting, where constraints compel her to analyze her work differently from her studio practice. The pressure helps refine her vision as she shares how she made her dreams reality, transitioning from Bonnaroo attendee to esteemed artist. Influenced by masters like Caravaggio and Van Gogh, Flamgu's style is uniquely captivating. Enjoy the podcast episode. Came on this podcast.
Okay, cool.
So, what have you been up to today?
Today, well, I just woke up, really, came here.
Really?
Yeah, but I like that, spend a little bit of time in the sun in the morning.
Nice.
Mhm.
You just like go outside and sit in the sun, or?
Yeah, listen to the birds.
Nice. Do you have a lot of nature around you?
A good amount, yeah. There's trees, so there's plenty of birds, and it's a big yard, but you can see everything going on with the neighbors.
Nice.
Mhm.
Are your neighbors like far apart, or?
They're not that far.
Nice. How long have you said you lived there for like a year or two?
It's been about a year and a half in Colombia.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
good.
Well, we'll go ahead and get started here.
Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nashville Artist. I'm Jordan, and today Flamgu is here.
Hi.
Thank you for coming over and doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, where are you from?
I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have one blood brother, and then I have two half siblings.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are their names?
My brother's name is Wesley, and then half siblings Tracy and Gretchen.
Awesome. Are they also into art and music and stuff?
No. Well, I guess my brother is an artist in his own right. He's a very good with computers and building computers, so
Wow.
that's an art in itself.
Very analytical.
Yeah, he's good at technical things, and he's logical with that.
Nice.
Yeah, we're actually pretty different.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did they fall in like age range? Are y'all?
My brother Wesley's just about 2 years older than I am, but my half siblings are, again, they're mid-50s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're way older. That's because my father he just turned 82.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
big
amazing.
Congratulations to him.
Wow. Yeah. I also have. My dad's 79.
Oh, really?
So he's about to turn 80 his next birthday.
Oh, wow.
So I get the older parent kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like it does create some kind of different dynamic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having grown up in the 40s, and the
Oh,
50s.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely different world.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So are your parents also into art and music, or?
I'd say that my mother's side is where the art comes from. So she was artistic. She is artistic. Like, she's really good seamstress, and she's helped me with when I began my clothing line. She helped me get started with that.
Amazing.
So, and she's also really good. She helped me a lot when growing up doing like school projects, like book reports. She always wanted to help, and she's good with watercolors, and that runs in her family. Like her sister and her grandmother was really good with. She did lots of like making little egg sculptures.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and pressing flowers and making like pictures with that.
Nice. Egg sculptures like taking an egg or just like making an egg?
Well, I guess the egg, there's a name for it, but you use the egg shell and then you like put beads on it and you put little figurines inside of it and you make a whole scene kind of
Wow.
thing.
Does it
Yeah.
like open up?
Some of them do, but
Wow.
I specifically remember our Christmas ornaments like that.
Ah.
Yeah.
They just like cut the side of that and put a little scene inside.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
What are your parents' names?
Martha and Bob.
Martha and Bob.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what they like being called. So growing up, it was never mom and dad. It's Martha and Bob.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what were you into as a little kid?
As a little kid, well, I had the privilege of growing up pretty in nature. So our house was by the woods and also by the lake. So exploring the woods was a big part of my childhood, and I still enjoyed art when I was little. Drawing, I remember drawing SpongeBob, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah. You went through like phases as a kid about different things you drew. Like in second grade, I always drew these little like hamster and mouse families, and they all had names, and they were all like jumping around and doing things.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hamster family.
yeah,
Was-
maybe like I feel like they were more like mice and rats. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Did like a cartoon show like inspire that?
I don't really know what inspired that, but a few years later, I did get pet rats that I had as a kid. So I guess I always kind of liked those little creatures.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any pets now?
I don't. Yeah, my lifestyle's too like I do events. I get,
Oh, yeah. Always on the go.
yeah. It would be sad to, or I wouldn't, be able to give it the attention it needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
So,
hopefully soon.
what?
Hopefully soon.
Yeah. A little pet.
Yeah, I feel like they probably make your art paintings a little better having a little studio cat around.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
studio cat just to come in and watch you and hang out.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Come around for a little loving and then just go off and do its own thing.
Yeah.
I like cats for that reason. Very individual and very, independent.
Yeah. They kind of give you a little bit and then they leave you wanting more.
Yeah, exactly. They can tease you.
Yeah.
So, what first got you into painting and art?
And painting specifically?
Yeah.
I was going to school, San Diego State, to begin my education. And I was doing, they just had a combined major of painting and printmaking. And I always did printmaking in school. In high school, we had a great facility to do that in, and I really loved it. I always did drawing. I never really did painting until a kind of school required me to do it. So,
Oh, okay. So, drawing was like how you originally started. Nice.
Yeah.
What other mediums did you work with during that period?
In college, I did a few ceramics classes, and I did ceramics in high school, and I enjoyed that. It's just a lot of these mediums that you learn in school, you have to have the facilities or the tools to do them, like the wheel, the clay, the press, the acid baths for the printmaking. And that's not something that most people have access to. So that's why actually a lot of artists would stay with painting, because that's something with all those tools you can just have at your disposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the easiest thing to stay with.
Right. What kind of things would you make ceramic wise?
Well, I remember when I was real little, like making this little dragon named Sylvester, and he was really great. But then you got like my college ceramics classes, they were more you have to follow sort of the assignments you're given. But then when I had free reign, I know I made like this figure man that hung on the wall, and he had these uh, branches coming out of him, and they had leaves on them, and they were little like uh, dimples to hold crystals on them, so I could put, it's kind of functional wall art, but also kind of cool. I don't know. Yeah.
That's awesome. Who were like some of your early influences, like art wise?
um, let's see. I'm thinking about timeline of it.
You're saying like SpongeBob and
Oh yeah, I mean, I loved that when I was little. So I don't know if that would be an early influence, but I remember learning a lot about Van Gogh when I was in elementary school. Um, and another project that we were given in elementary school that really, I feel like, influenced me was, I don't remember the artist name and I don't remember the painting name, but it's a painting and it's very impressionistic, and it's kind of like a picnic scene on the park, and there's a lot of people in it.
oh yeah,
There's the lady with like an umbrella.
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that painting.
yeah. So the teacher we looked at that painting, and the teacher had us make these brushes that were like these rubber bands that were all cut up at the end of just like a stick. And we created the painting by kind of, not using a normal brush, and that created an effect, that was similar to that impressionistic look.
Wow.
Yeah, and that influenced me a lot. I feel like the early impressionistic art is what definitely kind of the early sort of psychedelic art. It's a way of sort of seeing into beyond the reality of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Van Gogh, were there any other artists that like really
Yeah, later on in college, we had a project to research an artist, and at that time in my artistic career, I didn't venture into anything abstract. And I didn't really appreciate abstract art, so I did a research project on an abstract artist, and his name's Roberto Mata, and he is a Chilean abstract expressionist. I'm not exactly sure his time range, but from 1950 to the 1980s probably. But so reading about his why he did what he did really influenced me. So he has a series called Inscapes, like inscape paintings or your mind landscape onto the painting. So it was to him a way of being able to just channel like through his mind into the work of art. So to me, it seemed like that was a challenge to not reach for like references to create from, but to just create raw from your head, painting wise. So that's what got me starting to do abstract art, was I wanted to develop this ability to channel from my mind. So that
wow.
was a big influence.
Yeah, like kind of odd. How do you begin to start with that? Because it's like there's no borders in the mind.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know the way I started with it is I have this painting called Integrating. It was the first like abstract piece that I made, and I did start with a kind of like a DNA spiral, and then I let the rest sort of evolve from there. So, and I say it was my first abstract painting, it still looks very surreal for an abstract piece. Like I did create a landscape, so it's kind of like this tornado structure going into the ground. So I did create a ground, and like there's creatures kind of coming out of this tornado double helix structure.
Wow.
Yeah. I think you pull what you're like. When I first started doing abstract art, I was still studying biology
Oh,
and chemistry, so I pulled a lot of probably things from that part of my mind came through. So there are lots of sort of creatures and insects different things coming through art.
Wow.
Yeah.
What time period was that? Like, were you in?
I was a sophomore in college,
Oh,
so I was
nice.
still at San Diego, and I don't know what year that was, 2015, 2016.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you so you started out like in elementary school drawing and painting and stuff?
I just kind of kept doing it. I kept taking classes. In high school, I kept taking classes, and then I know a big point was I very unexpectedly won an award for a etching that I did, and I was like, oh well, maybe I'm good enough to keep doing this. So then I considered doing it in college, but my mom was like, you need to find a job. You need to follow a career that you can get a job in that's going to pay you. So I constantly kind of had that in my mind, like I can't do art because I need to get something that's reliable. So, and halfway around that time when I discovered painting in college at San Diego is when I decided to just follow art full time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, like in high school, you were also doing art, and then that's when you were like, I want to go to San Diego
hmm
for art.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like art and biology. So,
Ah,
because San Diego has a really good, the San Diego Zoo is there.
right.
Yeah, and they're real well known, and they donate all their old like skeletons to the San Diego. The college is nearby, so there's a really great like resource to work from.
Wow.
hmm
Do you have like a favorite animal or a creature that you got to see there that you're like, wow, that's really inspirational?
Yeah, I mean, there was. I remember holding a. They have the tarantula that they had
Oh,
there for. It was a 20-year-old tarantula, and she had a name. I don't remember, maybe like Betty or something. And I remember they said if you dropped her even like this much, she would die.
oh,
Yeah, but it was just neat being able to hold something so precious. And they also had and it was in a like a 5 gallon bucket of alcohol, to preserve it. But they had a platypus. Yeah,
wow,
that was pretty neat.
wow.
Yeah.
It was just the bones, or no,
No,
it was.
it was there. It was the fur. You saw it all. Yeah, and it had been, I guess, just preserved in that liquid, so you could see it.
Oh,
It was pretty neat.
I don't really know. Are platypuses like endangered now, or?
I don't think so. I mean, they all live in Australia, so
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
see.
Yeah, and they're actually the only, one of the only mammals that lay eggs.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's kind of what makes them special in their classifications.
Wow, yeah, because they're what, amphibian and a mammal?
Well, yeah, they're mammal, but they're mostly like, live in the water because they have what makes mammals mammals is their fur, and I think their mammary glands.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow. So, why would you say you're drawn to painting and art
Why am I drawn to painting
and
uh,
just like
and
the
art?
whole, yeah, kind of all
Hmm.
encompassing, I guess?
I feel like it's a way that I feel like it's just my purpose. It's a way that I can share like deep ideas within me or ideas that are kind of around me that I can sort of pick up and channel through art. And that's a way that I can communicate with all kinds of people. No matter the language, people can understand like a message within a painting, no matter where you're from, and without having to use words too. So there's something really special about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have like a favorite thing you like to paint?
Um, the favorite thing I like to paint. Well, I guess it just depends on the moment and what I feel like is important at that moment. I have different like themes and styles that I follow. So if I have time to like sit down and to express like an idea that I want to say, that's very usually apparent to what's going on in my life. So it might deal with a lot of them deal sort of with the soul or the spirit, or like aspects of duality. I think a lot about the dual nature of reality. So, like the masculine and the feminine, and how that's within us. Both of those are within us, and sort of how that expresses itself through different ways. So, I like to explore those ideas through my art. Um, but I also have paintings that are just sort of like they don't have ideas behind them, and they're sort of the flow of the moment. So this sort of goes back to what we are talking about with the inscapes, the paintings that are just kind of from within without uh, ideas to or a representation to follow. So now I found like the heart is I use the anatomical heart as sort of an anchor for these flow paintings. So that's
Wow.
something else that I like to do.
From the heart, as in like you don't draw like a heart, you just it's coming from just
Well, I think a little bit of both, but yeah, it actually is like physically, I'm thinking about like an anatomical heart, and you can see them in the paintings. It's like starts, and it's kind of like a cup, and then it's sort of, I think about the aorta, and I think about the ventricles and the veins coming out, but then they turn into like swirls or flowers or mountains, just sort of like the essence of they very much are like the essence of the moment, and the filtered through, I guess, my lens, you know.
wow. But you like start with the heart because it gives you something to come out like base off of.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like it's a good anchor, you know.
Yeah, a good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. So, do you have like routines for developing your artistic skills? How do you go about cultivating, getting better at what you do?
I'd say that the live painting has really helped. Um, that's something that sort of naturally unfolded with my art journey. After I graduated college, it was kind of like out in the real world. How do you make art work? You know, work for you. So live painting at music festivals was naturally like introduced to me. So that's really helped me because it keeps you moving. It's like you have an event, you have to make a painting. Um, I know lots of times you can bring like a painting from your studio into the live painting environment, but I learned pretty quickly that to me that the kind of seems counterintuitive because the live painting is basically you're using the energy of the present, the people around you. Usually there's music going on, and then to channel that into a piece of art. So that's there's a beauty into that, and it's like the more you can let go of the piece you're creating, usually the better it is. You know, you're not thinking about it, and rather you're just doing it.
Ah,
Whereas, like, if it's a painting from your studio, it's like you have all these preconceived like ideas, or you want it to look like this. So if you bring that into that environment of the live painting, it's kind of hard to work with. You know, you could be working with the energy of the moment, but you're also trying to like make it something particular. So when I embraced that idea, the live painting really helped me evolve because I learned, you know, you have to be creating more paintings, and there is a pressure of like to create a painting on the spot with people watching you. How much of a plan do you have? Like working with, there's a lot that you can work with painting. Do you have a plan? Do you not have a plan? Or maybe you have some of a plan. And then the live painting is also kind of like a time crunch. I like to make a painting while I'm there. So you kind of stay focused. So
yeah.
I'd say that's been a really great tool for me to evolve because even the live painting tells me a lot about my studio work. So I'll do a live piece, but then it's like, well, I want to follow this kind of art when I'm at home. So the contrast helps to evolve.
Nice. What? How big is the canvas that you use for live painting?
Well, I guess that's kind of up to me in the moment. And so I decide how long is the event.
Uh,
That kind of helps. But like a day event, I like to do like 24 by 36 or 24 by 30. Those are pretty easy to do in a few hours.
Nice.
For me now, it used to not be, but the more I've been doing this, the easier it's gotten.
Right.
Yeah, but over at like Bonnaroo just happened, and then I took a 36 by 48 to do.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had a little bit of a plan, so it helped it. It was easier. But if it was that big of a painting and I didn't have a plan, it gets a little dicey. You're like, oh, I'm not sure if I can bring this together, kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the fastest you've had to come up with something like in an hour for an event or?
I've done a painting in an hour, but some of those like the music festival has been a great place to evolve from. Like one of the festivals I went to asked me last minute to do a wall, like an 8 by 8 foot wall, and I didn't have a plan for that, but I just kind of did it. And it's almost like the less you can think about it, the better you do. So I didn't think a lot about it, and I mean, I was able to get that wall covered like in a matter of like it was over 2 days, but maybe like I worked on it like 5 hours or something. So it just seems like the bigger you go, you just got to use bigger brushes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What was like the biggest brush you used for a painting like that?
Well, I'll use the rollers and I'll have them
Oh,
on
rollers.
sticks and yeah, because I mean, in your first layers, you're just trying to like basically make a shape. So you can make a shape pretty basic shape, but just cover it.
Yeah.
I never come with like a white canvas if I
Oh, yeah.
can. Yeah.
What colors do you generally use as a background?
Uh, I, I like to start with darker colors, which can be a little controversial in the community, but to me it's like easier if my darks are laid first
Oh,
and then I put my lights on top. But some people, it's the opposite. They want to carve their darks in later or something. But to me, it's like my easier paintings are dark colors are down first. So that could be dark green, dark purple. It could even be dark red. You know,
wow. That's cool.
yeah.
Do you have or how was Bonnaroo?
Bonnaroo is good. um, yeah, Bonnaroo is an interesting place too because that's that is like a big factor in what led me to be an artist because when I was in high school attending it and I saw there were artists like with booths there, I was like, oh wow, there are people that are actually doing this as like a living or career, the people that make band posters too. So I was thinking like I could do this too. So it was pretty neat to see that. And then now I'm in the position that I looked up to, and now
Yeah.
I'm probably influencing the younger generation too to do art,
Yeah, that's
which is
amazing.
exciting. Yeah.
How many Bonnaroos have you been to?
I'm not sure, but I've been to 3 with my art, and then I probably went to like 5 or 6 before.
Wow.
Yeah.
What year was your first Bonnaroo?
I know it was after my sophomore year of high school.
Wow.
So 2011, 2010 or something like that.
Wow, yeah, I went to 2010.
Oh,
That
really?
was my first Bonnaroo.
Yeah. Yeah, they've changed a lot since then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been to 7 Bonnaroos. I
Yeah.
love Bonnaroo. The
Yeah.
last Bonnaroo I went to was 2017.
Okay.
I haven't been since, but
Yeah. I know
definitely.
one of those years was like really packed. 2017 or 18.
Huh.
It was like 100,000 people there, and it was like you could hardly walk.
Really?
In between, like after the big stage let out. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Hordes of crowds.
yeah,
Like 80,000 people going from the wet stage to into like the witch stage and all that.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty neat that so many people are there and like doing something that's kind of hard. It's not easy. The heat and the dust and all the people, and it's like an instant camaraderie with everyone that's there.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it when you're going into Bonnaroo and someone says Bonnaroo, and then like 10,000 voices are all
Yeah.
and everyone's like on the same level.
Oh yeah. That's fun.
It's very hype.
It is very hype. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty neat that I feel like that's sort of like the pinnacle of our culture is to be able to make these big festivals where so many people are there and celebrating different forms of art, like the music and the art installations, and then even the attendees with their expression and their fashion, It's just like, it's a really cool thing that as a society we can do with our technology.
Yeah, it's like 4 days of no rules.
Yeah.
Lawless land.
Yeah.
It's great. I love Bonnaroo. I want to go back again soon.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with like getting a booth there?
Well, I mean, it's I just applied to be a vendor, and then I know I got on the wait list at first, and luckily I got called off, and then now they just asked me to come back. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
You set up in Bonnaroo or
Nice? Yeah. It's kind of like I have these walls. I get to have like a little gallery, and then I paint right outside the booth. So
wow,
that's neat.
Do you just like live behind your little store?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's cool to be in there. And it's cool to see the backside too. Like whenever I arrive, they escort me in with the golf cart, and then I'm following them in my truck, and you get to see behind the stages and all that. It's neat.
Wow.
The little city.
So if you're a vendor, I'm assuming you can go to whatever show.
I think you can.
I guess you're not working.
Yeah. I kind of stay because you never know when that right person's going to walk up to your booth and you want to be there,
That's true.
So to me, it's like I want to be there as much as I can. And this past year, I didn't actually see a show, but usually I try to see one show.
Yeah.
Adds that little boost.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I got to go back.
Yeah.
Do you have who are your favorite painters of all time?
My favorite painters of all time. That's a tough question.
Yeah, or artists of all time.
I'm not. Oh well, I know in art history I loved learning about Caravaggio.
Caravaggio.
Yeah, he's a Italian Renaissance painter, and his paintings are very they're dark, but there's this the way he uses light and dark are just amazing. It's like he has the sunlight's coming in from over here, and it's perfectly illuminating the scene and telling helping tell the story, of what's going on. And it is real interesting about how much art is painting has evolved, because back then all they were painting were sort of religious scenes because that's what they were commissioned to do. The only people that could commission the art was the church. So they didn't really have freedom to choose really as much what they paint. Except Da Vinci he did a little bit more because he was commissioned by a royal family too. So he did. That's why he also had time to do more of his inventions and stuff like that. Yeah, he was also a really interesting artist. Living back then, especially in that small period of time with the Italian Renaissance artists, it's like they were all in this pretty small area, and they all were really close. Like when the Sistine Chapel was being painted, it was like Raphael and Da Vinci and to remember who.
Michelangelo?
Yeah, they were all painting there at the same time. So it's kind of I think their being around each other made them better, because they wanted to be better than their peers,
Right.
So I think all that helped make such impressive art come out of that time.
Yeah, the competitive nature they had for each other.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Da Vinci's probably my favorite.
Oh yeah.
I got his book behind.
Yeah, I think I noticed that.
I read that a couple times. It's really good.
Oh yeah, yeah. He seemed real smart, and he was one of the only They didn't paint lots of women portraits back then, but I know that one with the weasel, that girl, that was one of the earliest like female like portraits that were painted.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this, but he was actually like super jacked.
Oh, really?
He was like shredded.
Oh,
He was like
wow.
an athlete.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, that probably also helped his mind be sharp.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, yeah. He liked the whole gamut of everything about life.
Wow. Do you know how or what he would do? Lifting,
Just working out or just like running or like climbing things or like building things. Or,
yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of his art was very physical,
Mm-hmm.
putting stuff together.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's
Well,
also like obsessed with the male body, so
yeah.
he kind of liked to, I guess, emulate what he wanted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that he'd made inventions too, and you can like see all his drawings and flying machines.
Oh, yeah. And I think how he wanted to also learn about the body, you know,
Yeah.
and what made it kind of how it attached and what made it move the way it did probably really helped him with building the inventions too.
Yeah.
You know, how do these pieces come together?
Yeah, he was obsessed with optics, like how light hits the eye and how it like he would like create little boxes that would create the eye kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would look through them to see like where the light hits, and then he would draw it like back from that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like wow,
Yeah, that is
because
amazing.
he was always cutting up bodies
Mm-hmm.
and like getting cadavers and like cutting open their faces and studying behind the skin.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, I guess where he was getting these bodies.
He would just get them from the morgue or whatever.
Oh, really?
His studio smelled horrible,
Yeah,
as you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
Like that's how he got so good with like veins and like
Mm-hmm.
because he would literally do surgery on dead bodies.
Yeah.
Which nowadays, as an artist, people would be like, "This guy's crazy."
Yeah. But you'd really like be learning a lot and knowing. I know learning about anatomy has really helped me with figures, and it's like I've only learned like the smallest amount, especially compared to people that dissect cadavers. I mean, if you really knew the body from the inside out, you could sculpt it like perfectly. Or
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like why David is so incredible. Michelangelo knows like the muscles, how like when they flex, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
which makes that sculpture so remarkable.
Yeah.
Because he was able to get under the skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. You know, it almost feels like, in a way, I don't know, that peak in time was just something else.
Right. No TV then.
Yeah, no TVs.
Nothing to distract you except what you create.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I really like that time period, 1600s, 1700s.
Do you think that we'll ever be at a time period where we're not distracted by things again?
That is up to the individual, I think.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to be distracted, that's your own fault.
Yeah.
You know what I think?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you want to not be distracted, I feel like you have to work to not be distracted. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or just like go out in the woods and live very minimally for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you come back, you don't have the mindset of like, oh, I have nothing to do. I'm just going to watch something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everything that you do has purpose and meaning.
Yeah.
Instead of a distraction from what you should be doing, I guess.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I feel like being distracted or not being distracted is definitely a personal choice.
Yeah.
Because you have to work towards it, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's too easy to be entertained,
yeah.
You know, at the drop of the hat, you know?
Yeah.
With your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I'm sure there's some like Mennonite people or Amish who aren't distracted like we are.
Yeah.
And they probably create magnificent pieces that we probably won't see. And
Yeah.
they're probably very functional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they're expert builders. You
Yeah.
know, the way they can build the houses just like quickly and they do it very well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
focus and the diligence, you know.
yeah. I mean, yeah, not having electricity will make you become creative.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You have to get like, because I mean, I wonder how they get running water. I mean, I guess it's just a well.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
It's like the
yeah.
aqueducts in Rome, how they could move water through the city.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was really incredible. How they even had sewer, like sewage, like that's remarkable.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's almost like our brains and our bodies are very similar. Our how fit our brain is and how fit our body is. You
Yeah,
know.
they both lend very helpful to each other. You know,
Yeah.
if your brain's really sharp, then maybe you can make your body really sharp. If your body's really sharp, then your brain
Yeah.
can be really sharp.
Yeah. And then that probably goes into other parts of life too.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. So, what? How would you describe your creative process? You were talking about like starting with a heart.
Hmm.
What other ways do you like? All right, I'm gonna make a painting. How do you go about it?
Okay. I feel like the creative process is very much like my conversation with life, because I do have lots of like this internal dialogue that leads my life, and I'm very interested in like the journey and discovery. And so the art is almost just like an expression of that conversation I have. So there's some pieces that are kind of like filler paintings, like the heart ones, that kind of keep me going. And I mean, it's really interesting to have such a creative life and be propelled with to make art that communicates and connects people. But it's like I'm also living in the 21st century and I have to make money and pay bills, you know, because it's kind of like they seem incoherent. But I feel like the more I've embraced like the different processes and different styles of making art and like divided them, like the better it all becomes. Like each has its own thing. Like rather than only relying on art that's like pure expressions of like my ideas and I have to like slave over how making this thing and like it has this big message and then I have to go out and try to sell it, you know, but to have pieces that are more like to sell, like the heart paintings are easy for me to do and they feel good and people like to buy them, you know, so it's nice to have an intermingling of these different things.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then I'm actually starting kind of like another subcategory that's more like interior design art, and that's felt really good because my abstract pieces, a lot of times they are what sells. So I'm um, now dividing it, so it's not like my art that's like an abstract piece. It's like this is an abstract piece that's designed to like fill a space in a home, you know, and it feels good to have that challenge of creating art that people just like want to put in their house and not think about but feel good around, you know. So that's another subcategory that it's nice to have the different challenges with different kinds of paintings, and that helps me to keep going, and it helps inform the other category of painting. If that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. It's also interesting, like how you have to juggle making money and then also making paintings. Because I mean, if you're just like extremely wealthy, that would probably maybe negatively influence your paintings because you
Yeah,
wouldn't feel like I have to figure this out. You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. It's kind of I don't want to like doom myself by saying this, but it's kind of nice being on the edge, you know, because you have to problem solve to think about. If I didn't have to think about money, I wouldn't be propelled to be keep making and making and making art as much. You know, I would probably want to just sit and enjoy life, you know. So it's nice to have like something that keeps pushing me along all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool. You said you also make clothes?
Oh yeah, so the clothes is also so to make sustainable, ethical clothes with your art on it is actually a challenge because to print with your art, the dye sublimation, which is the style of like printing art on clothes, you have to have polyester to bind the art to the ink to the clothing. So polyester, it's not really great for your skin. It's not good for the environment because it releases microplastics into our water supply. That's something a lot of people don't realize. So I thought, how can I avoid this? So that's why I started making one-of-one clothing that's like upcycled, like denim jackets, and then I printed like a cotton canvas and just sewed on like a big patch on the back, or like sewed on like a pocket, just little accents or cuffs or something. So that was my first like way to make art clothes without, the or like unethical labor involved. So my mom was helping me with this. She's the seamstress, and yeah, she makes some really amazing pieces. And it's just kind of like a split business thing with her, a collaboration with her, which was fun.
Oh.
And then, so now I'm phased. Now I make just those blanket hoodies. So the cotton blankets. So those are printed with these digital looms in North Carolina, and then it's 95% cotton. There's 5% polyester in it, but it's a way that I feel good about what I make. But I do have to hand sew them all, so I have to put in the labor of it, which I don't mind because I feel good about what I'm producing and putting out in the world, and that makes a difference to me.
Nice.
Yes.
What different types of clothes have you made? Like shirts, like long sleeve shirts, or like what
Well, right now I'm just making the hoodies,
hoodies?
but I'd like to be making cloaks, or actually those they like these hoods that turn into scarves. That's on the roster to do later on. Just something kind of different,
Yeah.
But maybe who knows? You could make. I guess your mind is limitless with this and the material you use. So we'll just see, because it's kind of like a now there's another form of balance with making the time I spend making the clothes and the time I spend making art.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's another thing. I mean, I could like outsource my work, but I don't know. It feels good it does feel good too, making sewing these hoodies together, because it's like, you know, step by step. I know what to do. Whereas the paintings are a lot more mental, like, okay, now I have to figure this out and this out. It's more like puzzling it. Whereas the clothes are kind of like easy, rigorous work. So it's nice to have both of that kind of work to balance each other out, rather than everything's like mental, like I have to paint this and this and this. Like the sewing kind of helps with the painting.
Nice.
Actually.
Balances out. That way you can always come back fresh to the painting. Nice.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the most important thing to consider when starting a painting?
I think the most important things when considering starting a painting. A good question. I would think maybe your message, or like the process of the piece, like how difficult is it going to be to make what you want to make, or do you want to just enjoy the process? Do you have a plan? I guess maybe having a plan or not having a plan. I like to consider the background colors to me, or the background is important too, because that's the foundation for the rest of it.
Oh.
Yeah, because I've run into the issues of like wanting to make lighter color paintings. So I start with a lighter color, but then when I'm painting it, I'm like wishing I had my shadows in there already, so then I have to re-put my shadows in the paintings, and it would have been easier to just start with a darker color. I don't know. There's things like that.
I see. Do you have like a dream project you would like to do?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'd love to have a really cool farm and have these big sculptures on it and like an art residency program so people could come and stay and like build things or have time to make the things they want to make. And then we're also like making food, you know. I think that that's a really big part actually of my inspiration or enjoyment of life is like the land and like giving back to the earth, you know, because everything in life is intention. And it's like if we can give intention back to our food, you know, where it comes from and how we treat our soil, you know, I think that we consume that too, you know, and we give that back. So that's really like a big thing that leads my journey and desire to succeed in life is so I could, you know, give back to the soil and have it give back to us. So that's a big dream project, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What we kind of talked about this earlier, but what would you say inspires your creativity?
Um, yeah, my background with biology and chemistry is a big inspiration for my perspective on life and why I create and what I create. So learning about, you know, energy and how nothing can be created or destroyed, you know, and how energy can only be transferred. To me, it seemed very. It's very important to me to monitor our thoughts and to create with intention. So, like intention to me is like emotion and thought combined. So, if we can create with positive intentions, then we can create a better world. So that's kind of what is behind like why I create art and a lot of like I do mention like I draw intention a lot and to me like I uh, embody in the notion of intention with the anatomical heart with the atom around it. To me, that sort of represents like the love that creates everything and connects everything. So that's to me what propels my journey and propels my art and creativity.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
sorry, that's a little heady.
No, that's great. That's what this is for.
Yeah.
So, what would you say, kind of going off of what you just said, what would you say your art represents?
It seems like a lot of it's just about the human experience and I guess my filter of it. You know, every artist kind of has a filter. So, like the interest that I have, like the duality aspect of life, the spirit and the soul, you know, the sun and the star, you know, the earth and the sky, kind of the dual nature of like everything there is. Um, um,
Nice.
yeah.
How would you best describe the type of artist you are?
uh, I guess a visionary artist would be the word, but I like just being an artist. Yeah,
Yeah, don't box yourself in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite time of day you like to create?
I used to always be like I have to work at night, but luckily now I'm just like any time is a good time to create. um, but it does seem like at night, if I'm on more of like a nighttime schedule, is great because the source of like all the energy people use when they're awake, you know, it's that you have more of that to use your own at night when people are asleep. I feel like.
Oh.
What do you think?
Well, since I play music, generally I think I have to be prepared to play at night.
Yeah.
So I'll practice at night, but then I practice during the day.
Mhm.
Um, because I need to get my practice in.
Yeah.
So I'm always preparing for myself to be able to play well at night because usually that's when shows are. But yeah, I've practiced in the morning before,
Yeah.
in early afternoon. It kind of comes in different segments. I'll have like my first time that I practice, then I'll take a break, then I'll come back, do my second time of practice, then I'll take a break, then I'll play my drum set. So then like three different periods of the day, I guess.
Kind of like you got to use the time you got to.
Yeah, and plus I can't be too loud at late at night, so
Yeah.
I have to take that into consideration too.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say your strengths and weaknesses as an artist are?
As an artist, well, I can tell you my weakness right away is probably not being uh, assertive. Like, this is what I need, this is what I need for doing this, or assertive with other people. But, I learn and learn with every experience, being assertive about your prices, like, this is how much this is, and just being confident, and knowing why. And, if you get backlash, you just gotta know that it's not for everyone. Yeah. So that's something that probably is more of my weakness, but I'm learning all the time. Strength. I, I think one of my greatest strengths as an artist is adaptability. Um, like what I've said, how I have different genres of art for different things. I think that's been very helpful for me, so I can continue to make art that pleases me as an artist, but also be able to make a living at it. I think it's been very important to sort of know the different channels to make money and to create that through art, rather than having, because I think it's easy to pinpoint yourself into a very specific genre of art, and then people are expecting you to make that, and then you now have to make money from that specific art, and then it's like, well, what if you don't want to make that kind of art anymore, or something, so I think my adaptability and my versatility has been a benefit.
Okay, awesome. And so you've been here a year and a half now, or?
And since last September, so September 22.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. What initially brought you here?
So I came to the Nashville area because it was still Tennessee, which I love Tennessee, but it was out from Knoxville, my hometown, and it's close to my family that I could be there if I needed to. But also Nashville's just like this. There is a lot of artists that live here, different kinds of artists, and it's just like this. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of opportunity here, I think, for visual art, um, there's a lot of opportunity for collaboration here. So,
Nice.
yeah.
What would you say you've learned living here?
And from the
Like
area,
from being, yeah, in the area.
hmm, I I feel like that it's I've learned a little. I don't know. That's a good question. Because I'm not like in in the art scene here. Probably, my experience here is very much like I'm working at my studio, kind of producing. So uh, this is the first time really I've had like a place of my own, and I've had to be paying rent consistently, because before this I was just kind of traveling on the road. So it's really helped me to learn create to create things that pays back. It's helped me to learn very much a routine and discipline, and just to keep trudging forward. Um, I've met lots of really interesting people. I think that being here has helped me to network locally, and to follow up with people too. And how, like, you, without out of your little group, like of my painter friends, I can work with a lot of other kind of artists and different kinds of people and different kinds of friends. And I've met very different people here, but still we've been able to relate and come together and help each other out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite venue you like to go see shows at, or?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question because I just feel like I don't go see lots of shows here. I went to see my first show at the Ryman
Oh,
not
nice.
long ago. It was Hermanos Gutierrez.
Huh.
Have you heard of it? They're these two brothers that do these, it's instrumental, like Spanish guitar music.
Oh,
Oh, it was so good.
like Rodrigo Gabriela.
Similar, it's a more slow. It sounds very much like you're kind of like on a journey across the West, like on a horse. Like that's, the music is very, like gives you very much like an experience of like discovery and traveling.
I'll have to look them up.
Yeah.
What did you say their name was?
Hermanos and Gutierrez, Guit. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh,
Errez or
I'll figure it out.
yeah,
Hermanos
you'll be able to
Gutierrez.
find it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite food around here or anything like that?
A favorite food around here?
Like a restaurant or?
Oh, I love that Ethiopian place.
Oh yeah, Gojo.
Yeah.
Yeah. The injera bread.
Yeah. Wait, what bread?
The injera.
Injera?
Like when you eat it.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just know it's made out of teff flour.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like spongy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite restaurant around here?
I guess it depends on what mood I'm in. I really like Namzilla because I like the bulgogi pork ramen.
Mm.
Then I like Cheap Charlie's if I want to get a burrito and tacos.
Okay. Cheap Charlie's.
Yeah, it's here in Five Points or here in East Nashville. I also like Gojo. I like Taj Indian food.
They're downtown, right?
They're in South Nashville, kind of
Okay.
like Antioch-ish.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, those are some of my favorites.
Oh, good. Yeah, I need to make a list myself because I never know where to eat when I come around here.
Yeah, Namzilla, I really like the ramen bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Namzilla.
Yeah, if I want to get a burger, probably go to Gabby's Burgers.
Okay.
That's close to downtown. So, there's a lot of good food around here. In South Nashville especially, that's like what I call ethnic food mecca.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you can get like Iraqi food.
Oh, yeah, I've heard there's good Iraqi food.
They've got that Plaza del, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a giant shopping mall of all Hispanic foods and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Plaza
de Maria. I can't remember what it's called, but that's really cool. Good. Do you have a favorite gallery?
I should go to more galleries, honestly. I haven't been to. It seems like since I've lived here, honestly, I've been like very much like in my zone. I haven't ventured out a lot. I did go to like they have, I think that it's First Friday here. But I know that I did a show with some friends at the Say Gallery, CE or Say Gallery.
Say Gallery?
Wow. Yeah. And man, his name escapes me. The guy that runs it, he's really nice and fun. And it was a great venue that it was kind of like a speakeasy, so you had to actually enter into the smoke shop in the back to get to the venue.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. And they had, it was just nice, and pleasant place. And it was fun for the little gallery party opening we had. And so, I liked that. But I haven't been to lots of like galleries, here.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, I like Red 225. I like the Rock Wall Gallery.
Okay.
And then I've been to some galleries downtown for some art crawls, but I can't remember what they're called.
Okay.
but those are pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're inspiring me. I need to go to more of these galleries and go
Oh
out to
yeah,
nice
yeah, it's fun.
Nomzilla after.
Oh yeah, Namzilla. Definitely go to Namzilla. The sushi there is really good too.
Okay.
Okay, so what would you say is some advice you would give to someone who's going to move here and do art?
Hmm. If I would say to go to the galleries and openings and meet people and network. So when before I moved here, I did go. They had this NFT Nashville thing, and I actually met a lot of people that way, which was really good. And they were different kinds of artists or different kinds of people there, and I've stayed in contact with them, and they've invited me to other things, which has been good. I mean, the people that live here are really friendly, so it's great to make friends and good connections. And there's lots of openings, and um, I would say, I guess going to music events is good, except you're not talking probably as much as if you were going to something like this. Galleries or that NFT Nashville thing was people were really there to network. So you could meet. I met dozens of people in like an hour or something. So
Oh,
but people are real friendly and they want to collaborate here.
yeah, yeah, I really like it that everyone's really open, easygoing.
Yeah,
The pretentious ones kind of get left behind here.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't seem like people are standoffish here at all.
Oh,
They're excited that you're excited and you're here and you're creating. So
exactly.
yeah, that's amazing.
So, reflecting back on when you first started as an artist, what is one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome, and how did you get through it?
Well, I'd say just the challenge of, you know, the hurdle of like, can you make a living as an artist? Is the challenge that probably everyone feels is dealt with, and that's probably, I don't know. Still, for me, it's a constant like, am I going to make it kind of things. But I think the more you know, everything's going to be okay and everything's going to work out. And if you're following your heart in this, you will be taken care of. So that's, to me, I think the biggest challenge. And if you really love this and you believe you can do it, then you will.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, or what would you say is your biggest personal growth from last year to this year?
From last year to this year, I think learning where to put your time and your energy, because I do have lots of people ask me, well, you come out and paint for this or paint for this. And then at the beginning, it was like, take every opportunity you get. But then there comes a point when it's like, how much is this going to help me out actually? Or if I stay and I'm working on these pieces that could be more beneficial, it's kind of like if you're ready to level up, you have to start going to opportunities that are in sync where you want to be. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as you go further and further up, you can be more choosy of what is best for you.
Yeah. Because you're wherever your energy goes. So if I'm able to focus to get more pieces ready for like this show in the future, it's actually more beneficial than going to this party and painting at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been this past year.
Nice. So, how can people support you as an artist?
I'd say, following the journey is good.
Yeah.
Following the journey, and I post a lot online. Uh, and, if you want to recommend me to other people is great. Or should I be looking over
Oh,
here?
yeah, I'm just looking over here. Asking the people.
The people.
Yeah.
Yeah, supporting my journey and telling other people about it is amazing. Or, if you want to scoop anything cool, I've got hoodies and stickers and art. And yeah, something else I really want to start doing is live painting at weddings. So if you know
Oh,
someone getting married, that'd be awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, how do you, changing kind of subjects here, how do you like to consume media? Do you have like favorite YouTube videos?
Oh, I do
Or
watch YouTube stuff. Yeah, because when you're painting, you have time to listen to things. Which sometimes I do actually will paint in silence or listen to the birds outside is great. But then sometimes I listen to music. I do like upbeat kind of house music. Um, I do sometimes I do like to listen to astrological videos, like about there's this guy that's really great called the World Astrology Report, and he like compares like historic events to like present day and transits and stuff. So it's interesting as a way to like get some history as well as sort of learning about planets and all that. So that's kind of what I like to listen to.
sweet. Do you have any like favorite movies or books?
Um, I loved the Hayao Miyazaki films growing up. Like Spirited Away
Oh
and
yeah.
Princess Mononoke. I don't watch tons of movies. And then books. I kind of read things that are helpful to me in the moment. Like right now, I'm reading a book of how to sell art,
Oh nice.
which is it's been really helpful actually. And just kind of things that come and go. I opened the On the Road by Jack Kerouac.
Oh, On the Road? Yeah, by
Mm-hmm.
Jack Kerouac.
Yeah, so that's what I'm starting now.
Nice.
Yeah, I've heard lots of people recommend it, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't read that, but I've heard it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Kerouac is one of those like classic American authors, kind of about life as it's lived kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
ever read The Road by Cormac McCarthy?
I haven't.
It's incredible.
I mean, no.
There's a movie in it now, but it's incredible.
Really?
Yeah, it's really dark and sad, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's about basically a father and his son um, dealing with post-apocalyptic world
Oh, really?
and surviving.
Oh, wow.
It's
Yeah.
riveting.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause you just see like humanity at its worst,
Oh,
and
wow.
like this man and his son trying to survive, and the man is trying to keep his son's innocence alive.
Yeah,
It's really good.
I bet so.
But anyways, is there anything else you'd like to add that I might not have asked you about?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay, I've got
Yeah.
one last question for you.
Mhm.
What is something absurd you love or do?
Something absurd that I
Yeah.
love or do. Oh, probably like prancing around like outside and jumping in circles and just jumping up and down and I think it helps like it makes me happy and then it keeps things moving, you know what I'm
Be
saying?
like frolic like a child.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you should try it out if you haven't done it.
Dude, yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah, it's just like you kind of don't want people to be watching you because they're gonna think you're crazy. But that's why I go out late at night when no one's there.
Yeah, it's cathartic though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it out
Yeah,
and get in touch with your just wild spirit.
yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Flamgu, for coming over and doing this.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. You're amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think
Yeah.
your work is amazing too.
Oh, well, thank you.
Bye.